So, hello again. My name is Helve, and I came from Faculty of Health Studies, University of Rijeka. After Jasna, I will tell you about classification in Paralympic swimming. At first, what is classification in Paralympic sports? Classification is an integral part of sports of people with disabilities, a process of grouping contestants with similar capabilities. In swimming, classification consists of bench testing, testing on some bed, water testing, and observation during the competition. After the qualification, the swimmer gets its class and status. In swimming, we have 10 classes, S1 to S10. S10 is small disability, S1 is biggest disability. For the sake of sport itself, it's necessary to educate the classifiers on a national and international level. One becomes an authorized classifier after obtaining an education by the IPC swimming standards on an international level. Sports of people with disabilities, it developed fast year after year. That would not be possible if it weren't for a classification system. So again, classification, main goal of classification is grouping of contestants with similar capabilities for the purpose of a fair competition. Classification exists in standard sports as well, such as wrestling, boxing, judo, and weightlifting. In these sports, athletes are classified by their weight. One of the obligations of the IPC swimming is on the international organization that takes care of the competitive swimming of people with disabilities is to educate the classifiers. A contestant cannot compete if he is not classified. So functional classification system is based on the maximal capability of a top-rated athlete with physical disabilities. So on this slide, you see process of classification. Process of classification begins with the swimmer's signature on the application form. This is, of course, application form. So classification is made of, for one, of bench testing, which represents the medical part of the test, and it's usually performed by physical therapists or physicians who are familiar with the methodology. The coordination test, as well as the muscle strength and the mobility of joint. The measurements of the trunk and the extremities are taken and specific tests are performed. For example, the test of the lower shoulder for butterfly swimming. And this is example of bench testing. This is questionnaires, what swimmers must fulfill. After the bench testing, second stuff is water testing. Water testing is the technical part of the test that is made under supervision of technical classifiers. This must be kinesiologists or swimming coaches. What is observed in the buoyancy of the swimmer as well as the start, the flip turns and the swimming technique. The data obtained during the bench test is compared to what is being shown in the water. So we discuss about class with bench together, about bench test, water testing, observation during competition, and after that swimmers had class. This is example of water test, floating on front, floating on the back, swimming 15 meters, freestyle, breaststroke, and backstroke. And third thing in classification is observation of the contestant during the competition by the medical and technical classifiers. So during the competition, we must watch the start, the turning, and the technique of swimming. So levels of classification, swimmer can be classified on the national and international level. The swimmer can be tested on an international level only if he is classified by two authorized IPC classifiers for swimming, one medical and one technical classifier. So in swimming, we have S, SM and SB class or category. S means freestyle, butterfly and backstroke. SM is medley and SB is breaststroke. So it's different class for every style. For physical impairment, we have sport classes from 1 to 10. So a lower number indicates a more severe activity limitation than a higher number. You will notice that athletes with different impairments compete against each other. The impact of the impairment on a swim performance, however, is similar. So in the same category, we have, for example, a swimmer with CP and swimmer without, I don't know, one limb, two limbs. So neurological problems and physical limitation. So from S1 to S10 is physical impairment, from S11 to S13 is visual impairment, and S14 is intellectual impairment. The status of swimmer, after the classification, the swimmer obtains one of the status, N, C, or R. N status is a trainee classifier or a regional classifier, and just one authorized classifier might classify the swimmer, and they can do that exclusively in their country or region. That's N. C status, sport class status confirmed, C, is assigned to an athlete who have been evaluated by an international classification, and the international classification panel has determined that the athlete's sport class will not change. And R status, sometimes the swimmer will get R symbol by two authorized classifiers, which stands for review status. For example, R status we gave to young athletes, or for, I don't know, some chronic disease. And every swimmer can be reclassified. Once the swimmer has been internationally classified, he can be reclassified only if there has been a change in the damage or if there has been change in the classification system. Something about education. One becomes an authorized classifier after an education done by the IPC swimming regulation. The education starts on a national level where the trainee participates in the classification of the contestants on a national level in the presence of a more experienced classifier who can but doesn't need to possess an international license. After that, what follows is the attendance of an online course in English, which consists of 16 modules. Current status or situation in Croatia. In Croatia, there is currently one regional European technical classifier and 3 trainees who have passed the online course. The process of making potential medical and technical classifiers more familiar with the classification system, as well as the classification process itself, begins with the studies of the University of Physiotherapy and Physical Education, in particular through the subject of sport of people with disability. So that's in short dots, something about classification in Paralympic swimming. So if you have some questions, be my guest. Thank you.